President Bush is to cut the number of American troops in Europe and Asia in the biggest reorganization of forces since the Cold War. 70,000 troops and 100,000 support personnel and dependents will be moved back to the United States over the next decade. But Democrats and a former military chief call the president's plans dangerous, ill-conceived, and a ploy to boost his re-election hopes. Gavin Hewitt reports.
For over half a century, large numbers of American forces have been in Germany. It was the cornerstone of Europe's defence. The enemy then, the Soviet Union. But the Cold War has long been over. And these were American forces in action today. Street fighting against a less clear-cut enemy in Iraq. Thousands of miles away today, President Bush was attending a convention of veterans of foreign wars in Cincinnati. Many of them had seen service in Europe, but the president's message was that the old commitments had to change, and he was bringing home nearly 70,000 troops from Europe and Asia.
The world has changed a great deal, and our posture must change with it for the sake of our military families, for the sake of our taxpayers, and so we can be more effective at projecting our strength and spreading freedom and peace.
So what are the American moves likely to be? Germany will be affected most. 2 American heavy armored divisions will leave and return to the United States, starting probably in 2006. Half of US installations in Europe will close. In Britain, America's European naval headquarters in London will most likely be shut and relocated to Italy. And in South Korea, another long-standing American commitment, 12,500 troops will be pulled back with a sharp reduction in installations. Just yesterday, another group of reservists was leaving California heading to the Gulf. US forces are being overstretched in Iraq and Afghanistan. Some troops have already completed 2 long tours of duty. Today's changes are intended to make the American military more flexible, more mobile, but also more available in places like Iraq.
You don't want to have your forces going to Iraq every other year. Ideally, you would like to have a larger pool of forces from which you can draw to maintain the existing deployment.
This weekend, soldiers returned from Afghanistan after 9 months, and some do see calculation in today's changes. Announcing that troops, any troops, are coming home is good politics, particularly at election time.
Well, Gavin Hewitt's in Washington now. Gavin, these proposals today have been attacked by some pretty senior figures as dangerous and ill-conceived.
Absolutely, Fiona. I mean, the White House today was saying this was one of President Bush's more important foreign policy announcements, but it's proved very controversial. Take Ambassador Richard Holbrooke, a former ambassador to Germany. He said this actually would alienate allies precisely at a time when America was looking for support from its old allies in its war against terror. And he said, another example of this administration acting unilaterally. Take General Wesley Clark, former NATO commander. He said, what is the sense in bringing back troops here? You're not going to be able to deploy them any further to places like Afghanistan and Iraq. As I say, he thought it didn't make any sense. So once again, on a critical foreign policy and security issue, it's turned out to be very controversial. Fiona.
Gavin, thanks very much.